As you enter into the sprint of elections, it's all about making sure you have the resources you need to compete. So we're going to talk about how you maximize your fundraising success as a candidate. This is absolutely important. So I've got two really smart people with me and then me. I have Abby Corbett, our events extraordinaire, and also my wife. Happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm very nervous, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we had to drag her into this. And Ryan, my operations guy, who all of our candidates know, two of the best people we can talk to here to talk about fundraising and how we maximize our success. First, I want to start here. We're in December as we record this video and as people watch it. All right, so in December, there's a lot of things candidates should have already done. So let's run through that. What are the things these candidates should have already done so they can listen and go, oh shoot, I didn't do that. I got to catch up. What are those things?
Well, I think it's always great to start with forming your finance committee. You need to know who the people around you to support you are going to be, because this is a team effort. This is a long game.
Okay, so make sure you've got your finance committee in place. It's already been done, hopefully. What else?
Have your kickoff fundraiser. Really important to get that done so you introduce yourself to the voters, get your name out there so they know who you are, and get those initial voters and donors in.
Yeah, so at least one public fundraiser,
Correct.
Typically some sort of kickoff event. All right, what else? What else should they have done by now? They should have a master list, right?
You always got to start with the master list. We have another video on this. We can go in depth, but you need to know who you're going to be reaching with your fundraising efforts. If you can't build the who, the methods and everything else just doesn't matter.
Yep.
You need to put them all in a list.
Yeah, you already should have that. You already should have your fundraising phone call list. You should already be making phone calls to high dollar donors. Maybe even have done a mailing on fundraising already by now. You should have already been doing low dollar digital fundraising like email, social media. All that should be done, or at least have been started by now. So what we're going to talk about is how you build on that. So if you haven't done those things, go do those things. Pause the video, go do those things, and come back. Now we want to talk about how you maximize the success you can find in fundraising and all these different methods, because you're going into January, you're going into the sprint. If you're on the ballot in March, you don't got a lot of time. You got to raise this money fast. So how do we maximize your fundraising success? I'm going to ask you guys each kind of one by one. What are things that come to mind? Since Abby's nervous, we'll start with Ryan. What are things that come to mind from you to maximize success?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to accept that the climate has changed. People are now engaged. Your donors are engaged. The voters are engaged. Previous donors they're ready to start giving money. You need to take advantage of that. You need to put yourself out there. You need to make yourself available. You need to show them what you're doing. Your campaign, your fundraising efforts are tied to your campaign. Is your campaign putting out mailings? So you have yard signs. Show those items off, because people like to give to something tangible and they want to give to momentum. If you show the campaign is doing positive things ahead of their election, they're going to be more likely to give, and you've already kind of primed the pump.
So two things there. Number one is make sure your campaign is building on momentum and you're taking advantage of that fact. If you've asked people for money before, we're all human. We don't tend to give until there's some reason, need, impetus to give. And so they might have said no before, but now that it's real, now that we're talking about an election in just a couple months, you can go back to those donors and there's more of an impetus to give. So that was the first thing you said. The second thing was tangible, which I love this. So let's talk about this. Give to something tangible. We always say, tell people, I need money for X, for yard signs, for a mailing, and show them a sample mailing. I need dollars to go towards doing a TV advertisement or a radio advertisement or a digital ad, a video. And you can show them the video and say, give me X number of dollars and this will be seen by this many more people. You can do that math, and we've seen that work really well. I remember an event that we did for a client a few years ago where we actually printed up a mailer that we walked around and showed everybody. When they came in, it was at the front desk, and we would show people, and the candidate showed them from on the stage and said, for every dollar you give, this can get to 2 more households. And so they asked everybody, how much more money were you willing to give to hit more households? And they raised a few grand more at the event just on the way out the door for that. So tell them that they're going to give towards something tangible, and now we're all willing to give more towards something that we can see exists. And when they see it, if they give towards yard signs and 2 weeks later they see yard signs, they're going to love them. They're going to come back and give again. So 2 awesome tips from Ryan. All right, Abby, from you, what do you think? What's a tip on things that will maximize people's fundraising success?
In terms of, when it comes to doing fundraisers, obviously fundraisers, you want to raise money, but there are so many things you can do at the fundraisers to help maximize how much money you can bring in instead of just the ticket sales or the sponsorships. You can do a 50-50 raffle. Everyone loves 50-50 raffles. People have the opportunity to walk away with cash. And if the winner
Or donate it back.
If the winner is someone who really loves you and supports you, they'll give you the money back and then you get all of it, which is always what you really want. We've seen a lot of success with a booze raffle where you either have people donate or you go out and buy a bunch of booze and put it in a wagon and raffle it off. And we've seen
Thousands of
dollars.
Good booze.
Yeah, thousands of dollars can come in because people want to stock their bars at home. So that's a fun way. You can do, silent auctions can be hit or miss. It depends on what you have. If you have sports memorabilia, that always goes over really well. But if you just have, kind of like those baskets from, companies and stuff that, hand soap, doesn't tend to work real well, but you can try. Sometimes, depending on the group, those can work really well. But
donated, at least anything you get is something.
Yes.
So that's good.
So just think of fun ways to engage people at your fundraisers that will, get them to donate even more.
Yeah, we've seen people do like games and prizes and competitions at the event. Like we too many times these campaigns get stuck on this like ticket price sponsorship. Okay, great, we've done what we need. But people in the room still have money.
Yes.
One of my favorite political jokes told by a former presidential candidate was, the good news is, and I told this at an event just a couple weeks ago, it's the first time I've told it in years, I actually forgot about the joke. The good news is we have every dollar we need to run this campaign. The bad news is it's still in your pockets. The idea is people at that event still have money they could give you. And give them a reason to do so. A raffle, something fun, some competition. I've seen bags tournaments. I've seen people do events where it's around like playing card games or something. People can rebuy in if they lose all their money. Again, you gotta be careful about that. There's rules around poker and stuff. But the idea here is don't just stop at raising money at the door when they come in. There's ways to make it where you can bring in even more money throughout the course of the event. So awesome. Great thought, great idea. What else? What are other tips we should be given?
Well, the big thing for me in my area of expertise is the planning aspect of it. And I believe in transparency when it comes to what you're going to do with the money. So every campaign should have a budget by now, likely. And we can be transparent of where that money is going to go. We can show those, our top donors, hey, this is my budget. I need 40 grand this month to be able to put out these 3 mailings, do a couple telecom efforts, and get all my digital funded. Can you help me?
Yeah, a specific number. So now we're not talking about something tangible like give towards something specific. We're saying give them, this is for January, and give them the exact number. Because now it shows you've done planning, right? So 40K, it's round. It just looks like, hey, I came up with a number. But you say, listen, our plan calls for $36,800 in January. That's what I need. I've raised 6 so far. Can you help me get further along the way? And make it fun. We see this with fundraisers all the time in like the real world, where these nonprofits will have like a thing that fills up over time as people give. You can make it kind of fun like that, but give them a specific number tied to a budget. That's telling these major donors and all your supporters, I have a plan. So it's a dual purpose. It's not just giving them something tangible. Now it's also saying, I have a plan and I need your help, but it's not just going to go towards, hey, give me money and I'll decide where it goes. So good. I like that. What else?
Just to play off of that, when it comes to having the deadlines to raise the money, we've seen a lot of success come the end of the year when candidates say, hey, this is my goal and we are so close. Can you help us get there? And we push out, and we've seen 20,000 come in over a 24-hour period because people wanted to help that candidate reach that goal by the end of the year. So if you really kind of push it like, we're so close, we're almost there, we just need a little bit more, you'll be really surprised at how many people step up and help you reach your goal and even exceed it.
Yeah. So give a deadline is a big thing. Don't make it artificial. I see this all the time now because deadlines are helpful. Humans don't operate without deadlines. So now I see a lot of these politicians nationwide who just create a new deadline every week. Oh, our fundraising deadline this week is on Thursday. That doesn't work. People will see right through that. But if you have once a quarter or once a month, some sort of deadline, ideally once a quarter, but you could do in election season maybe once a month. We got to have this by this date. We are all human. We all, especially with money, I don't want to give money until I have to. That bill that's due, I'm not going to go give that credit card company or the government $1 of my money before it's absolutely required. So it's the same when it comes to like our campaigns. Maybe they want to give you $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is. They're not going to do it until they have to. So give them that deadline. So that's a great one. I know you're our creative person. So I know one of the things you want to talk about is just be creative with your events and the way you approach things. So let's talk about that.
Have fun with it. You don't, just because you're having a political fundraiser doesn't mean you have to just have your usual reception dinner at a banquet hall or even like a restaurant. You can have fun with it. It's okay. You can think outside the box. And I mean, try to do a theme. If it's, around March Madness. I've done a couple of events where, March Madness was the theme and people got excited, or around the Bears and, or even election, and make it kind of fun way build up to election day. But
or it doesn't even have to be political or sports. I mean, I've seen you do themes around like Italian food, and it's an Italian event, or an Irish themed event, or a German themed events, which were past Oktoberfest when people watch this. But there's ways to build it around nationality, or build around the theme for your campaign. If your theme is on a certain thing, if you're on safety, then have a theme around that and build it around safety. And maybe have a fun little fake jail you put people in at the event. If you don't give more than X, you have to stand in the jail for 5 minutes. People can laugh at you, or have a dunk tank. Have fun with it. I know we had one client, there's this crazy weird venue up in Lake County where it's a big pyramid. And so you had one client where you did an Egyptian theme event at the pyramid, which people loved. It was super cool.
Yeah, it was an annual event, and people were so excited every year for that event to happen because it was so unique. It was different. People had fun with it. People will come out if they get an invitation in the mail and it looks like it's going to be a fun event and not just your standard fundraiser.
Yeah, you want to take your guests, your donors, somewhere they wouldn't go otherwise. Because they could just go to their nearest sports bar on their own. They don't need your help to do that. But if you take them to a unique local venue, you take them to your favorite spot, you cook your favorite food, you're bringing them in, and it makes it that much more fun.
And this is all about the law of reciprocity, where you give them something of value, they're going to feel like they need to give you something of value back. So do it, make it fun. Even as simple as invite them over to the local forest preserve or your house and barbecue and cook for them. Like you're doing something for them. It's unique. They couldn't get that food anywhere else. Like come up with these fun, creative ideas. Don't just, as Abby said, go do either another rubber chicken dinner or a reception with one drink ticket at the bar after work. Like this stuff just gets really boring. Understand that for most people, they're getting invited to a lot of different fundraisers. If yours just looks just like all the rest of them, what's the reason why they need to come? So I love it. Make it fun. Make it creative. I think you've got another thought on that, but let's jump over to Ryan, put him on the spot. What else? What other tips you might throw in, or have I exhausted all of your ideas?
Well, I mean, I would take it a different direction, because I think if you want to maximize your fundraising success, you got to invest in your future. The easiest way to do that is send thank you notes.
So maximize your fundraising success by actually showing appreciation to the people who have contributed.
You want them to come back. You want them to feel welcome. You want to acknowledge them. And I mean, at an event itself, you only get maybe 30 seconds with 90% of the people there. You might as well engage them. Like this is social. This is meant to be appreciated.
Yeah, and the number one way to ensure a follow-up donation is to thank them for the first donation. The number one way to ensure no follow-up donations is to not thank them for the first donation. So make sure you're thanking your contributors and not just a form letter that you sign. I mean, that's better than nothing, but do something. We love getting like cards that you actually write up and fill out. Now, if you've got 1,000 contributors, you might need volunteers to help you write these out. But hand address the envelope, make sure you're hand signing and writing at least a little note, if not writing the whole thank you note. Show that you care, show that you're thankful. They will not only contribute again, which we see this, even in a 2.5 month period, which is what you have for this primary. Once you get January 2nd, you've got 2.5 months. You will get a second contribution, even in that short 75, whatever that is, day window, you could get another contribution. But on top of that, if you win the primary, you're going to want another contribution, then another one, and they'll tell other people. If you thank them and they're appreciative of that and they like that you care, they might get you a few other donors before election day. It goes a long way. It isn't just being a good human. It also is good and selfish because it will get you more donations. All right, I know when it comes to being creative, you also like to know that the invitation and the sponsorships and all that is creative and not just boring. So, Abby, rant time. Go for it.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when I see a candidate have just, a standard invitation or even a creative invitation and their sponsor levels are bronze, silver, and gold.
Or platinum. Don't forget platinum.
Or platinum. And I've seen it even when I've convinced a candidate to do a creative themed event and they still just want the standard bronze, silver, gold, or platinum sponsor levels. You can get creative with those too. It's okay. Your sponsors are not going to be afraid of it. In fact, I've seen the opposite. I have had sponsors call me and say, hey, I want to be a bear down sponsor. That sounds awesome. Or I want to be the safety sponsor. They like seeing that unique name and they want to see their name underneath that sponsor name. So if you're going to go creative, actually think it through and go creative. Even if it's not necessarily a theme, if you can't really pull off the theme, especially if it's more like a kickoff event, I'll use my sponsor titles as the talking points of the candidate. So if their talking points are around school safety and community and lower taxes, I'll put that as my sponsor levels. So then the candidate's talking points are right there in front of everyone. And so you kind of know who this person is right off the bat. But have some fun with the sponsor levels. I think I physically twitch whenever I see those standard, boring sponsor levels.
Yeah, and the good news is what we have seen is that as long as you're not putting on there like Tinkerbell as a sponsor level, we've not seen someone go, oh, I'm not going to give you that $250 because I don't like the name of that sponsor level. So you could have some fun with it, be creative, don't use Tinkerbell because no one's going to want that one. But otherwise, be smart about it. I guess if you're doing like a Disney princess theme style, if you're running for office, you can have like the lower level be Tinkerbell and then the highest level, be something like a stronger Disney princess.
If somebody sends you a fundraising solicitation and addresses you as Colin Tinkerbell Corbin, you can do one of these videos.
Yes. Yes.
But either way, have some fun with it. Be creative. I think that's a really good point. All right. We've probably gone way over our time. Lane's probably going like this, and I'm not even looking at him. But before we cut this off, any other final thoughts on how to maximize your fundraising success as we go into the real election season this spring here? Any last thoughts you might want to share with candidates?
Your crew, your fundraising finance committee, your fundraising friends, they should all be involved every step of the way. This is a team effort. Get breakfast once a month. Talk through ideas. Make this fun.
Yeah.
It's a long game. I mean, you got to play it. You got to make it fun along the way.
Yeah, I like it. What about you?
Yeah, just kind of playing off of that. I know asking for money is something nobody likes or wants to do. So don't think it has to just be you. Have a finance committee. Have those people in your family or in your friends or even colleagues that are willing to pick up the phone and help you and work with you. It's a team effort, and it can go a really, really long way if you have people around you that are involved.
Yeah, and if you want to have success in fundraising, it's all about relationships. So build relationships with individuals, with groups, with your team. Have them out there building relationships. We take action as humans based on things that we like and things that make us feel good. And so if you're making people feel good, if you're building relationships, if you're making them like you because you're showing that you like them, you're going to have a lot more success. We have all sorts of training videos we've done on fundraising. Reach out to us. We're happy to share it with you or give you some ideas. Abby's always available. She's awesome at this. She's been doing event planning and fundraising for well over a decade. So she'd be happy to give you some advice. But either way, I hope these ideas, these thoughts, you can implement these in your campaigns and find more fundraising success. Because if you don't have the resources to win, you're not going to win. You've got to raise money if you're going to be successful in campaigns and politics. So take this advice we've given you, go run with it, and go raise some money, go kick some butt, and go win your election.